Iowa's 8-4, Nebraska 6-6, and Minnesota, I don't know, like 7-5 probably.
So do you just follow Big Ten football or?
No, I follow all football.
I got you.
Yeah, even Division III.
Yeah. Well, I was curious about Oklahoma State football. They're not too good.
Oh, they look terrible. Yes, it was. Colorado put 54 points on them.
Yeah.
And their coach is awesome. He's
I know.
He's a character, but
their coach is a beloved coach. That's why he's never been like, I don't think he's been canned because of that. But
right. And we were down in Arizona a few years ago, and they were staying at the same hotel we were, the Oklahoma State football team, and they were the guy was a great guy. Talked to him, and their strength coach was a great guy, but great guys, sometimes you got to win.
Yeah, at that level you have to win.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, I heard something on the social media world. I thought it would be cool to bring it up to you. Do you know? Are you familiar with Perler?
Yeah.
Okay, so Perler put out something about like don't invite everybody to your practices from gym classes and stuff. And I get what maybe the message kind of is, but it kind of alluded to like don't just try to get as many kids out as possible to the school, like to the wrestling program. Like to build a championship team, you have to have like specific people or whatever. And I kind of get that, but I thought it was interesting because I was like thinking of you because somebody local messaged me about it. And I was like, man, but Marty, he had 100+ kids. He got everybody out, people who weren't wrestlers, and they all turned into wrestlers.
Right.
So I just,
And I, the key, I mean,
Corey Anderson was the first guy that came to mind. Was like, oh, if you want to cut this guy, you would have cut him.
First kid cut.
Yeah, and then he turns into a world champion. It's like, it's just silly.
You don't know when they're freshmen. You just have no clue what they're going to be like. And they get to wrestle. It's not like they're going to stand on the sidelines and not ever play football or whatever. I found them matches. And I had great assistant coaches that traveled all over hell.
Yeah, that's another great point because I think that gets lost. I think sometimes like wrestling is unique in the sense that even if you're not the starter, even if you're not the second starter, you can find 40 matches a year if you really were determined to get them matches.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We would on Saturday mornings there'd be 4 buses waiting for 4 different groups of kids to go somewhere. It was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to bring that up because I saw that and I was like, I think this is you know what clickbait is, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think this was clickbait just to get people riled up or whatever, but I kind of understood what he was saying. But then at the same time, I was like, dude, you can't, this is a public school. And if you only have 30 kids, I mean, that's not enough to win. You got to get more.
Here's the thing. It is so easy to coach the good kids. Yeah. It is so hard to coach kids that have never wrestled before and they come in at the high school level. Yeah. But then you watch them progress, and it's just incredible. And usually what I had an assistant coach that usually wrestled for me and never wrestled before high school. So I had them go with the beginning freshmen. So they knew what it was like. They knew what they had to learn, the coaches, so it was a system. It was a process. It rolled pretty good.
Yeah. It reminds me like just the idea that like I forget what I was about to say, but
that's not good. You're too young to forget what you're going to say.
Well, I was about to do something else, and then you got me off track. But
it's called multitasking.
Yeah. Either way, I just thought it was interesting because I was like, good kids, right? Yeah. It's easy to coach good kids. I prefer to coach wrestling to good kids, right? Like, because it's easier. They want to win. They want to compete. They know some of the stuff. So it's like, oh, here, you do this. But the thing that I was talking to somebody else about recently is like a lot of coaches don't have, a lot of coaches have short-term memories. So say, for instance, that coach that didn't make weight sometime, he forgot that he didn't make weight. So then when he's coaching and the kid doesn't make weight, he's mad at the kid, where like having empathy of like, oh, this kid's just kind of getting started. He don't know what he's doing. We all, we have to like, I guess just figuring out how to communicate to people is like the real job of coaching. the psychological approach to
Yeah.
each individual, recognizing if they've wrestled before, if they even like wrestling, maybe they don't like wrestling, and you got to convince them that they do. Like all these psychological processes that come with coaching, that is like the hard part. That's what you're actually signing up to do.
Yeah.
Because good kids that are determined, kids that understand it, it's like, dude, just they'll figure it out. Even if
Yeah.
nobody was around, they would figure it out if they're possessed and goal oriented enough to go do it. They would figure it out. I mean, that's how I did it.
It's a process, man. It's awesome. It was fun.
Yeah.
Doing pretty well at Barrington.
Yeah, I was pulled up. They're in first place. When I looked,
7 guys in the semis, I think.
7 guys in the semis. Yeah, I saw the quarterfinal round results, and that's always been a thing, right? Just getting pins, like quick pins in quarterfinals. Yeah.
You know what else I like seeing though? A lot of those kids are getting tech falls, so that means like Tyler's pushing them. Sometimes to get a tech fall, it takes a lot to get it done, and you got to freaking be aggressive and get after it. I really like seeing that.
Yeah. Well, I guess I was just curious about the overall tournament depth. If everyone in the quarters, because not just Hananiga, I was looking at every bracket, and every bracket the quarterfinals pin.
Right. There's a couple teams that aren't there this year that have been there that have been really good. Like Warren's one of them. We'd have seen, a couple of Hananiga kids would have seen a couple of their really good wrestlers. Yeah. State champs, which would have been good, but it is what it is. It's good to see Providence coming back.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. They're like in 4th or 5th place.
6th place.
Are they?
Yeah. Do they have a full lineup? Yeah, 14 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be curious to talk to Donnie Reynolds about that because, it never seemed like he got into the game. I don't know, though. I'm too far away from the suburbs to really know whether or not he got into the recruiting game as much as the other private schools have been. But, Providence has been gone for the last 10 years probably.
Yeah, it's because Keith Healy was the man.
Yeah. But the program just kind of went away.
That's after he left though.
But
program started dwindle. But he was a great person. I learned a lot from him. We used to wrestle him every year early on, like the first Friday of December, we would go into Chicago and wrestle. Then we'd go on Saturday to the mega duels and wrestle a bunch of schools there too. So
yeah, good guy. Well, yeah, so they're in first place, looking like they're 4 points ahead of Arlington Heights Hersey and Washington. I didn't know Washington was there. I didn't see them.
I think it's been a while since they've been there. So
yeah. So that should be a good for Washington, that's a great tournament for them because they're a team and they're coming in that 3A programs. And yeah, we'll see how it plays out today. 7 in the semis for Hananiga should be pretty good.
You know what though? That's critical for them as a team. Some of those guys wrestling back. Hopefully they can wrestle back in place.
Yeah. I saw a couple of them they
eliminated already.
Yeah, they lost their wrestle back. But yeah, did you get to see the results that I posted the other day too from the Marmion tournament?
No.
Yeah, so Marmion had a tournament last Wednesday. So just Wednesday, 1-day tournament. And that was pretty good too. I was surprised. It was a better tournament, but it didn't look like it was like, 1-day tournaments are complicated. They don't seem to, you're not building suspense or whatever, but Marmion was there. Marist was there. Lincoln Way West was there. Lockport was there. Huntley was there. Woodstock Marion was there. It was 13-team tournament, but it was there were some good state matchups there, like potential 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3, and
early on in the season too, which is great.
Yeah. I wish that tournament was a little bit more like, maybe even just a couple days later, to be honest, because it kind of snuck in, like you didn't really get to pay attention. Plus, I could have reached out and saw if they wanted to do some broadcasting, but I have to start reaching out to people. Our last week's broadcast, a lot of people have seen it. A lot of people have talked about it. A lot of people have said they're excited about it. So we just have to work out those details. And, Justin was talking about what he could have done instead, different ideas like, I could have got the the manager to point at the scoreboard, like little stuff. So I think with some collaboration, I think that's going to be a really cool thing, a cool addition to our entire setup, so.
You did see my post or my talk on our text messages, right? About the contract.
You told me what about your contract.
We're still waiting on some things here. We can work on that off the screen.
Okay. So you don't want to have public contract negotiation?
Sure. Right now I'm getting paid a dime a day, so I'm looking for 15 cents a day. That should cover it.
Were you disappointed, upset about my tardiness this morning?
Well, it wasn't that. I'm upset because I can't sleep at night. I wake up at 4:00 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God, and wander around and do stuff. But no, I'm fine with that. 7
you want to move? You're saying you want to move our podcast recording up to 4 a.m.
We can go 5 a.m.
How are we going to get guests?
That's true. Yeah. Well, the only guests you'll find are old people that can't sleep.
Yeah, we don't have McNames either. McNames somehow.
Where's he at?
I don't know. Did
he call
respond. Yeah, he didn't even call in. That's a no call, no show in the contract.
Right.
He's got
like last week I was busy in Chicago and I called in. I said, "Hey, I'm not gonna make it."
Yeah, that was definitely. We'll have to give McNames a hard time for the no call, no show. And we have a guest coming on here shortly.
Who do we got?
His name is Tyler Westlund, and I believe he wrestled at North Boone a while back, not too long ago, but more than a couple years. I do know the name, and he is currently coaching at a Division III school in Ohio.
Really?
And so he reached out to me in a message. I was like, well, just sign up. You can come on the podcast and chat. And so he filled it out, and we'll see if he pops in here soon. But that's who we're going to talk to.
Awesome.
But outside of that, I think the tournament's good for Hononegah. They got a good lineup. I saw that TJ did make 38. I was hoping, actually, after I looked at the brackets, I was hoping he was going to go 44 because Evan Goss from Palatine Fremd is at 44. He was a state finalist last year. Who did he lose to in the finals? Oh, it was a great match, though. St. Charles kid. The kid that's at Illinois right now. Dang, I forgot his name. But phenomenal wrestler. It was a great finals match. That would have been fun to watch. TJ versus.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what the Hononegah does. They might drop kids down, like the Haskins kids at 57 right now. He was at 50 last year. Or unless they all just stay up there if they're comfortable and feel good.
We'll see. All right, our guest is here. So
awesome.
Tyler, welcome to the podcast.
Good morning, guys. Good morning. Sorry, it took me a minute. My computer camera wasn't working, so I switched to my phone.
It's all good. Tyler, I was briefing Marty a little bit on you, and I do remember you. So I've seen you, whether it's just on social media or somewhere. I've been aware of who you are and where you're from. But would you kind of share your story? Because I think you're coaching at the college level right now.
I am. Yep. So I wrestled at North Boone, so Northern Illinois, but we didn't really have anyone. We were a startup program. Like my freshman year was our first year. So wrestled there. We had 5-6 guys on the team. Wasn't a lot. We did well tournament wise. So my senior year, we placed at the state tournament as a team. So that was cool with 3 guys. And then, so wrestled there, and then I wrestled club too, in the Rockford area in Crystal Lake. And then after that, wanted to wrestle in college, but part of the reason now, like not didn't get a lot of recognition as, a Northern Illinois guy. I was only a one-time placer. So, what on paper wasn't anyone, super highly recruited. Now that being said, like, a state placer at Division III level, like we would love to, recruit a state placer. And then after that, so went and wrestled joined the military and wrestled for the World Class Athlete Program for 5 years, and then got done. Started coaching high school. Was a high school head coach for 5 years, and then now I'm coaching Division III. So it's been kind of all over.
Now, yeah. So where's your Division III school?
Yeah, so we're in Cincinnati, Ohio.
And the name is it?
Mount St. Joseph.
Mount St. Joseph. Marty, you ever heard of that one?
Yep, I'm a D3 guy.
Oh, there we go.
And I like the Hawkeye mug.
You like that? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Got it.
You don't
Yeah,
have
I
St.
wrestled at
Joseph?
Loris College in Dubuque, Iowa.
You say Loris?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We see them a good amount.
Yeah.
We see Dubuque more often than them, but we see them somewhat. They're not in our region. Our region actually just got switched, so we're going to Illinois now. So
You
it's
are?
like, yeah. So we were in the lower Midwest, and then they added a region. Basically, the coaches wanted more qualifiers, more wrestlers, which okay, kind of split up that Vors, Wartburg, that tough Iowa regionals.
Yeah.
So now they split it. So we go to Illinois. So it's us, North Central, Milliken, Chicago. Whitewater comes down. Some of the Michigan teams, Elmhurst, they tried to keep the OAC in Ohio together. So they kind of went east, and the rest of us kind of shifted over.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm an Elmhurst guy. So
Okay. Yeah.
I went to Elmhurst finishing up.
Nice.
And he was an All-American.
Yeah, those where those things are from.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Yeah, I didn't even see it in the background.
Yeah.
So you wrestled with Joe, Ralph?
Yep. Joe, Mikey, Benefiel.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were my teammates, my roommates. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, the journey to Division III was for me, I mean, it was great. You know, I spent a year in between Division I working on and living at Marty's golf course. And then I eventually went back to get my degree and stuff. So it was fun. And I found my way to Elmhurst. But thinking about Division III, like, now it's a little different, right? So it's a little bit different with the NIL aspect. And, I've had conversations with Marinetti about this, like, the lights and the glamour is at Division I.
Yeah.
However, there's so much opportunity for people to just continue to find themselves through wrestling, compete, and go to college, maybe at a smaller school. Like, I don't know the size of your school, but Elmhurst was like the coolest college I think I could have ever wanted. It was just a small, I just liked it. I really enjoyed it. It was in the city. It was fun for me.
Yeah.
But I didn't think of it as a real possibility because I was so focused on Division I level athletics.
Exactly.
But yeah, so talk to, I know Marty has some ideas as far as what are the benefits, but what's your pitch to wrestlers these days?
Yeah. I mean, you talk about the Division I talent, and I think we're kind of in a lot of student athletes are in this mindset where, and I don't know if it stems from coaches or some parents that I've even had on visits, and I've had a parent say, we put all this money in, we need to go Division I. Why are we even on a visit for Division III? And so I think a lot of kids are so lasered in on, oh, this is Division I, and if it's not, I'm almost not worthy. Like Division II and III is like it doesn't equal up to it. And we talk to guys like, hey, you're a Division I talent. That's why we're recruiting you. Just because you're a Division I talent doesn't mean you can't wrestle Division II, Division III, NAI. I mean, there's all these other opportunities, and a big thing is, hey, you may be a Division I talent. Do you want to go for 4 years and be a practice partner Division I, or do you want to be an All-American at Division III? Like, you're going to get to wrestle right away. Even our non-starters get 30 to 35 matches no matter what. So you're rotating in the lineup, you're getting to wrestle, and you get a balance of life. I mean, you've wrestled at the Division I level, you understand the difference between Division I and Division III, and how you can kind of balance your workload and do both. And so as far as the divisional pitch, that's kind of what we talk about, where and we operate at a high level for Division 3. We have a regional training center. I think we're the only D3 in the country who does. So we do freestyle and Greco year round, go to world team trials, have finalists almost every year, send guys overseas to train and to wrestle. So we are Division 3, but we kind of operate on a large scale. But our school's similar to Elmhurst. I mean, I think total enrollment's like 1,100 right now for undergrad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's cool. That's the other thing I think about a lot with Division 3, and I'm not sure if this is something that you mentioned, but Division 3 is also like a minor league right now for Division 1, right? So
yeah,
last year Wisconsin's starter, who I believe made the NCAA tournament, was a Loris wrestler. So he wrestled
yeah.
at Loris and then he transferred.
Our guy actually wrestled him in the semis 2 years ago, I think. Or
Okay,
3 years ago. Yeah, he's tough.
Yeah. But what I think is, I think everything comes down to opportunity, right? So that concerned parent said, we put all this money in, what are we doing here, right? Well, not every kid gets the financial opportunity. I mean, even if you're really, really skilled, the fact that transfer students are so much more valuable than, say, a freshman out of high school is. There's so much of the stepping stone of like, well, listen, you don't have a financial opportunity right now, whether it's a scholarship or whether it's an NIL opportunity. Maybe Division 3 is going to be great for you for 2-3 years. And so then you have that opportunity in the
Right.
future. Because, that's one thing, being teammates with, Joe Rao, there's no reason why you can't start at a Division 3 school and then become a talent that's capable of going to the Division 1 level or becoming a, Olympian. So I think that is going to change people's approach, at least if they're thinking that way. Now, it's hard to think that way because it's like, well, you think everybody thinks absolute, like, well, I'm going to be here for 4 years, going to be here for my whole year. It's like, well, keep yourself open, because I didn't, I didn't go in thinking I was going to be at multiple different places, but life just kind of happens the way that it happens. You can't really, but yeah. So do you think that that's a real like a possibility going
Yeah,
into
I
the
mean,
future?
you're seeing a lot of guys that, Wartburg's 197, who just won World Team Trials for U23, Manzona. He went to Wisconsin to be the 97 pounder. Things didn't shake out. He went back to Wartburg, but you're seeing guys that can compete at Division 3 go up. I mean, and on the flip side, you're seeing a lot of Division 1 guys now. I mean, we're in week 3 of competition. And I was talking to some colleges in Iowa at a tournament at Millikin, and they're like, "Yeah, our starting these weights are they wrestled at Iowa last year for 2 years. They've been at University of Iowa, and they wanted to compete, and they were sick of kind of sitting behind the lineup, and so they ended up going down to Division 3 level, and now they're starters. And yeah, when we talk to guys, like I've talked to some guys, and like I want to go Division 1, but they might like the school, and I'm like, hey, come here, win a national title, and then go to Division 1. They're going to give you a better scholarship package, probably. You prove yourself. So, I think it's an option. It's just tough with the NIL with Division 1.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be tough, especially if, but again, I don't even feel like you should be recruiting kids that are getting the NIL money.
I mean,
And I talked to Steve Marinetti about this. I think Division 3 programs have a unique opportunity to leverage NIL opportunities locally in their community, whether it's local car dealership, whatever it is, right? Whoever you would think that would sponsor a local duel, get them involved with the kids on the team, get the team to become, ambassadors for local businesses. I think that would be a really good opportunity to leverage. Hey, we don't give scholarships because we're Division 3, but here are these NIL opportunities that you can kind of like go around. Like, I mean, when I was in high school and I wanted to go to camps, I would run down State Street in Belvedere, and I would just stop into places and I would ask them if they wanted to give me a couple $100 to go to camps. Well, I would say that's kind of similar in the sense that if you build relationships, you could possibly create that. But
yeah, and we're pretty lucky. We have an NIL right now with Barbarian Apparel. He went to Mount St. Joe's, and then he coached there. He's 5 minutes down the road. So, and actually, his two full-time employees, one is our All-American, and the other one just graduated from us last year. So it's a tight-knit wrestling, and he helps us out with, it's a gear company, so it's perfect. His brand gets blasted, everywhere, singlets and all that stuff. So, but yeah, I like that idea of just, small mom and pop businesses, especially.
Yeah. I just think that when it comes to like, at least for Elmhurst, right? You go around Elmhurst, everybody knows the college is there because it's a
Yeah.
small, community or whatever. But
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely think, Division III has to think outside the box. They're not going to necessarily just get donors to give, money like, say, Iowa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Marty. But yeah, Marty, what do you got on Division III wrestling and Tyler's journey there? Tyler, I mean, go ahead, Marty, and I'll go after that.
Well, no, Division III wrestling is unbelievable because those guys actually really want to do it. I mean, they're, a lot of kids that are Division III athletes are getting nothing. I mean, you get some funding from the school a little bit, but everybody talks like, well, my son wrestles D3, he's got a full scholarship. I'm like, they don't give full scholarships.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. It's financing and stuff, and yeah, it's a great thing, and you get to meet a lot of different people, and it's a tight knit group. Division III, and it's what. I go to the Division III Nationals every year when it's around Iowa or Illinois because it's fun to watch D3 wrestling. I love it.
Yeah. Tyler, I want to ask you this because I think it's probably pretty relevant to you. So when did you get started in wrestling?
My freshman year.
In high school?
Yep. Yeah.
Right.
High school.
So before I was talking to Marty about something that Perler, maybe you're familiar with Perler, but
Yep.
he had posted on social media about not inviting everybody to the wrestling room from PE classes and stuff like that. And I was talking to Marty because Marty, I would say before you were in high school. When did you graduate high school?
Graduated in 13.
Okay, so yeah, way before you were in high school, Marty would have 100 kids on a team, and a lot of kids, they're band kids, they're all sorts of types of kids that turned into really successful competitive wrestlers. And the assumption that you don't invite as many people as possible is just such an interesting concept because, like, for you, like, it seems like your entire adult experience currently has been like on a trajectory that started through wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
And so, like, just thinking about the concept of like, what if you didn't go out for wrestling? Where would you? What would your life look like? And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think if I never wrestled, I'd probably, I knew I was going to join the military in some facet. Every male in my family since I think the Revolutionary War has been in the military. So I knew like, okay, I'm gonna have to do this path. Like my brother's in the Marine Corps right now, who wrestled Northern Illinois, was a world team trials runner up. But they've all been in the military. I think that's something I probably would have done. But I don't know if if I didn't wrestle, would I have that fortitude to go in the military? I don't know, because that instills a lot of the stuff that is able to go into there. I look at myself before wrestling and after, and was a eighth grade chubby kid who liked football and baseball and did not excel at it by any means. Was a very below average athlete, and that's wrestling's kind of something where you don't have to be the best athlete to have success. And during my whole career between high school, senior level, all that stuff was never about being the most athletic. So I think without wrestling, that's a tough one. I'd like to stay in the military, but again, I don't know if.
Well, just thinking about how much did that prepare you? Like,
Oh, I mean,
how many times were you working out in the military and be like, oh, I've done a lot of this before?
We get to basic training and it's, it's night and day, and like kind of beyond that. So, with the world-class athlete program and the Air Force specifically, so you have the Army programs, you get guys like from OPRF, like Kamal Bay, Ellis Coleman, all those type of dudes, right? Where they go into the military with a contract to wrestle. Well, for the Air Force, you don't. So Jacob Hay, who coaches at Dixon, was the one that told me, like, hey, dude, you can go into the military and wrestle. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. Like, I want to do that anyway. Long story short, so I had to try out with no contract. So I had to pick a job, then go in the military, and like you get to basic training, it's pretty easy compared to a wrestling practice at Alpha or ISI or something like that. So I'm fine. But I just remember, like, my goal was I got to make this team, because if I don't, I just risked 4 years basically. So I had some pretty good bunk mates who guys were like athletes. One guy wrestled before, and he'd let me drill on him. When the lights went out, he'd stand up and he'd let me hit 50 high crotches each side and let me hit single legs. And because we didn't have time to do that throughout the day, and I told him, like, hey man, like I got to do something. And yeah, so they would let me wrestle, and then they'd kind of work out with me at night once the drill instructor left. And um, one time we had a classroom, and I asked the drill instructor, I was like, hey, like, I'm reading this book, and there's this one sentence that says world class athlete program out of this full book. And I asked him about this. He's like, well, no, you got to be really good at a sport. You don't got to worry about that. And I'm like, well, great. And I ended up making it. And ironically, we're friends on Facebook. And every time they would publish something about me, I'd send it to him, and he would write back, I'm so glad I was just doing my job, whatever. So yeah, it was an absolute crazy journey, but wrestling certainly prepared for the military. And those are the guys, recruiters will tell you that's the number one athlete they want as a wrestler.
Yeah. Yeah, I think these are just little anecdotes that prove that idea.
Yep.
I think wrestling is such a interesting sport, because on one hand we're constantly striving for like the competitive excellence. So if we're not trying to win, it's almost useless.
Right.
And I definitely think that trying to win is an important component to getting the most out of yourself, right? Like what you said, you were on like basically like a survival mentality.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta train, I have to
Yeah.
get better, right? Otherwise I don't get it. And wanting to win kind of promotes that. But the fact that wrestling is such an important it's such an important tool for humans to kind of like really develop themselves.
Yeah.
I just I think that's cool. That one, what if North Boone didn't have a wrestling program? Just changing how you approach life and stuff like that. So that's a cool story.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Marty, you have anything else for Tyler?
No, it's just awesome to meet you. I think what you're doing is great, and it's like people need to hear your story, because there are so many parents out there that think, hey, this is what my kid's going to do. This is his path. Well, it's not their path. It's the young man's path.
Yeah.
I mean, it truly is. And the military is made up of so many wrestlers and stuff. It's just,
not enough wrestlers, right?
What?
Not enough wrestlers.
No. And the great thing about wrestling is if you stay in it, you're going to get better.
Yeah.
Because either that or you're going to get the shit beat out of you every day. But, if you stay in it, you're going to definitely get better at it. I mean, it is that sport. You don't have to be fast, quick, everything. You just got to be tough.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of our guys right now. I got a guy who he went 0-20 last year as a freshman, and he made a final of the first tournament this year, and he's won probably 7 or 8 matches, and he went 0-20 last year, didn't win a single match the whole collegiate season, and now he's got 8 wins pieced together. I mean,
yeah,
just in the room 24/7, staying consistent.
Right.
You're saying just being tough.
Tyler, do you ever make it back out this way?
Not that often. I got a almost 2-year-old who's a maniac, so it's tough with him. But me and my brother, we try to go back a couple times a year. And honestly, what I'm trying to do is, piece it together where I go back for family, and I can also recruit, talk to people. I did go back this summer. Spoke to a recruit from North Boone, Gavin Eckberg, he's a state placer. So. That's a North Boone guy. I grew up with his cousin, and so hopefully we can get him out here. He actually works with one of my groomsmen from my wedding, so we got a lot of connections. Spoke to Jordan Blanton about dropping in on a practice, just trying to bridge the gap between all of that. So me and my brother, we try to go out. He fights too, so when I'm not competing and he's not fighting, we try to go back home, and as long as we can. It's tough.
Got it. Yeah, I've been training with Gavin for a while. Gavin's a great,
Oh, okay.
great tough kid.
Yeah.
Trying to get him a vehicle right now. He's
Oh, he doesn't have a vehicle?
yeah, he's trying to get a new used vehicle. Used vehicle market is tough these days, I guess.
Wild now. I'm surprised they don't, because he lives on a farm, doesn't he?
Yeah, so I'm in Loves Park. I have a building in Loves Park,
Okay.
so just trying to get him out there. But yeah, cool. That's awesome. Whenever you're in town, reach out to me.
Yeah.
Let us know. And yeah, thanks for coming on. Good story. I like to hear it. Good luck with the rest of the season.
Yeah, I appreciate guys. Shoot me some sizes, and I'll get you some Mount St. Joe's gear. Thanks for having me.
All right.
You got it. You bet.
McNames is
Have a
gonna be
great
mad.
season.
All right, you two guys. See ya.
See ya. Marty McName's gonna be mad. He's gonna miss out.
Right. That was I know, but that was a good interview.
Yeah, he's a
Like,
great
isn't
guy.
that crazy though? He started wrestling as a freshman at North Boone, and now he's a coach at a Division III school, and he's giving back, and he's a military guy.
Yeah.
It's amazing
Well,
what we can do for you.
And for me, it's so ironic that, I wanted to ask you about that question about inviting people. It's like people are so short-sighted with what this sport can do because they get so distracted with the shiny stuff. It's not just like from Belvedere, the life experience that I've gained just by getting good at wrestling is
Right.
like, it's hard to explain to people. And so I just think I'm glad that he came on and had that conversation, because it's like, if you don't get this kid to wrestle, not only is he not more prepared for the military, right? Like, I mean, you just thinking about it, imagine 4 years of high school not wrestling and then going into the military. Like, you're less prepared than you could be if you were a wrestler, right? So just that alone, it's like anybody who's planning on going into the military, join wrestling,
Mhm.
and then just the fact that it can turn into a career. You can eventually move across the country to Ohio and become a coach at a Division III
Right.
school. It's like there's so many things that you don't really know until you just go through the process.
Even when I was at Loris and I wrestled for the semester, then I tore my shoulder up, no surgery, done with wrestling. But then it kind of drug me back, because then I started helping at a middle school in Dubuque and helping out there. And the sport just kind of kept dragging me back. And then I got blessed to be hired by Hananiga. And
Yeah.
that's it. I mean, whoever thought I would have ended up in Rockton, Illinois? I mean, I'm a Northeast Iowa guy, and I thought I was going to live in Iowa my whole life and everything, and I'd never leave now.
Yeah. Yep. Now we got you. Well, yeah, great stuff.
He was really good.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that'll do it, and we can catch up next week. We'll follow the results for the Hananiga team at Barrington today. But other than that, you enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yeah, we'll work on that contract over the week.
Yeah, we'll have to send McNames. We're gonna wear our shirts next week, and McNames
he's gonna be left out.
Yeah,
Part of the business, man.
You got to show. No call, no show. You don't get any gear.
You got it.
All right.
All right, man. Have a great weekend.
You too.